r/antiwork. Jessica Siegel says, a quick note to have a backbone and not let bosses bully you. Included photo. Death by Porous says, call me so there's no paper trail and it's my word against yours, haha. No. Jessica Siegel says, wow, do you know my boss? Cause it sounds like you know her. Ronin says, you should write back and specifically say you prefer texting as it leaves a record, which protects both you and the company from any dispute over whether or when contact was made. Besides, they only want you on the phone, so they can question and cajole. Precious Angel 999 says, Jeep me in the loop. Dieti says, beep beep. S1AS says, who got the keys to the Jeep? Scooby-Doo Eats IR says, the other key thing here is calling means there's no record of what was said. You want everything in writing, just in case. Living Pay 8976 says, or as soon as the call starts, this call is being recorded for security and quality purposes. Nitalock1 says, don't even need that if you live in a one-party consent state. Diorama Beast says, operate on for standing up for yourself. But that no got me dying over here. Jessica Siegel says, again. It was just that easy. And she's in for a nice surprise on Tuesday, 100% unrelated to this. This is nothing compared to some of the other shit she's done. I thought this is poignant. If I know the rules and it's optional to use my personal phone for anything work related, not just work, try not to make a complete ass of yourself for absolutely no reason other than a power trip. Stadka 2017 says, lol, calling in to say you're going to be late or not able to work doesn't fall under those provisions, and I think you know it too. Hot Anywhere 3522 says, what was the response? r/antiwork. Otis Redding says, working in a plant is terrible. Everyone is a redneck. It's like working with a bunch of high schoolers who never grew up. I think a lot of the guys here are racist. I say what's up or good morning and they look at the ground. One guy mugs me every time I see him. I've never even talked to the guy, but he looks like he wants to kill me. The work environment is dangerous and nobody cares. Someone lost a finger and a foot last month. Like what the hell? People here are getting cancer and I'm sure it's from all the crap flying in the air. I've never been this sick in my life working somewhere. I get daily migraines. My skin gets blotches on it. I've developed a terrible cough that I can't shake. Plus my hair is starting to fall out. Could be a combo of stress and aging. I've seen people split their hands open and instead of cleaning it like a sane person they just keep working. Literally got blood over all the work surfaces and tools and everyone acts like it's normal. People go in the back of the plant and do drugs. People steal any and everything. Fights break out over stupid shit. There's no cameras in the plant so nothing is ever done to fix any issues. I'd rather scrub my balls with sandpaper than work in this place again. Television 09 says, LMAO, I bet your co-workers are anti-union too. Dog 6900 says, I worked production for 11 years. Never had any of those issues, they sound workplace specific. That being said, after I left, I vowed to never work production again. Empty Run 3254 says, if you cut your feet off and get cancer I won't be surprised to become a racist. That place sounds like a bunch of demons in a lake of fire. Visualias 33 says, if in the US, that many injuries on a regular basis usually triggers an OSHA visit, investigation, a surprise revisit, and massive fines if the company hasn't instituted safety changed. Like, many hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fines. But if they are not properly reporting injuries to OSHA, someone could do that anonymously. Just saying. Illuminated says, what is preventing you from leaving? Estimated Delivery says, that sounds a lot like our House of Commons in the UK Parliament, especially the bit about blood and drug taking. Accentus says, that sounds like that plant's particular issue. Wandering Brainsel says, please tell me you quit. Spastical Mackerel says, report this to OSHA immediately. Find a new job. If there are no jobs better than this in your area, move immediately. Falsarilis 4 says, that's super excessive even in factory terms. You should find new work for your safety. Abi02 says, if people are losing limbs and digits, OSHA would have already been there, issued a fine and corrective actions already. We had 2 recordable injuries, both due to operators bypassing safety guards. OSHA showed up in a week. Both had resulted in amputation of some sort. Even though the operators were technically at fault, we still needed to pay fines and improve our guard/machines, which has resulted in automation. r/antiwork. Just a bog which says, Breeze of Co just verbalized something I can't even trigger warning pandemic and healthcare. All company call right now. Breeze a vendor healthcare staffing company is actually bizatch-ing about how the pandemic is trouble wording this, bear with me. It was so much better at the height of the pandemic because profit was 40% higher, well of it was sicko. Healthcare facilities needed more staff immediately because their staff was dying. The pandemic was not a good thing. Speed 6569 says, as long as no one important, rich, died and the shareholders were happier than a dog with 2 dicks, then it was indeed a golden age and capitalist God was in his capitalist heaven. We should aim for a pandemic every 5 years or so to keep the market buoyant. As long as it's just the peasants dying, then everything is fine, right? Plenty more where those came from. American Dream y'all. Who P223 says, too much real life. Clarence Isaacard says, as long as no one important, rich, died, they don't actually care when this happens, they just pretend to. Nursomatic Cakes says, definitely a tone-deaf and cruel statement. Garden Rafters says, it's not tone-deaf, if that's exactly how businesses are being run these days. This is capitalism at work, folks. There are no more ethics when it comes to making money. They don't give a frick, and we're all basically heads of cattle to them. If we aren't profitable, then they don't care if we die, they would actually prefer it. The world our parents prepared us for no longer exists. Cartographer 7609 says, yeah, welcome to America. Profit over all else. There is no ethical consumption in capitalism. Broken people pay money to get fixed, so the system needs broken people to survive. The system subsequently breaks people. This is what top-level heads at major corporations know. It's why marijuana can't be legalized. It kills someone's profits. It's why healthcare can't be socialized. Someone's losing profits. Mick0331 says, we have lost. The bad guys have won. We are in a state of complete regulatory capture. The right thing will never happen with these demons in charge. Make no mistake, the politicians are not in charge, these people are in charge. There's no social safety nets, because they need scared people to exploit. That's why we don't solve homelessness, that's why we don't have free healthcare, that's why your healthcare is tied to your ability to work, and that's why we have for-profit schools. The rich live in America, you live in America's wealth extraction pool. r/antiwork. Drefor-MGL1TCH says, what does it mean when a company says they can't offer PTO because of budget reasons? I don't understand what that has to do with the position. I got offered a job 20 an hour with no benefits and no PTO because of budget. Spirit Fiend says, it means it's a shitty job that can't afford to stay in business. Raraburus says, dead on. A business that depends on scraping the bottom wages is a business that is headed for the scrap heap because it can't sell whatever it's selling at a price that supports the business. It's a poor business doing something nobody wants to pay for. Thevoisia Friesenish says, it means management are greedy bastards and they are keeping all the profits for themselves. Punksapa 321 says, it means it's high time to find another job. Lufer of Doom says, it means they finally thinned the herd enough that if one employee calls out, takes vacation or dies, the entire business comes to a complete standstill. Advise them when you are taking a day off, don't ask and do interviews for a different job. Mostly Defective says, honest answer from a self-employed person, they can't afford to pay people for non-working hours. They are not making a how profit for that yet. Either too new of a company or poorly run. First one is okay if you are getting equity or something for the effort, since PTO is a non-option. Second one is not okay. Unless you understood going into the agreement, the trade-offs. I started working for a startup 15 years ago, employee #1. No benefits, no PTO, but I did get equity in the company. It was a risk for me for the future reward, nothing promised, only the possibility. Company grew, got sold, and knew we are okay. It was a slog to get there, 0.10. Years of hard labor and traveling the country for the promise of a future payout, not guaranteed. It worked out for me, but I would have never taken the role without having equity, even though it could have been worthless, just food for thought. Good luck, Opus. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.